In this video we're going to be checking out the differences between CLZ Games and Gameye. I'm going to look at what areas each app is strong in and compare the pros and cons of my experiences with both. So let's get started. The first thing I want to look at is both apps' initial home screens. It's important to note that before you go and catalogue any games, both are just blank. So I went and added a few titles beforehand. It's obvious from the get-go that they both take a very different approach, but as this is the first thing you'll see every time you open up the app, you want to make sure what you see here feels right for you. I personally feel that Gameye has this familiar feeling of a web store that you're able to browse through and pick and select titles as you would, say, like on Amazon, where CLZ offers a colourful collage that I can't help but feel really happy to see the moment the app's opened up. They both look great, and ultimately it's down to you as to which you feel more at home with. I think it's possible that the most vital areas that these apps both need to perform in is the ability to add games as effortlessly as possible. I regularly open up the app after buying some new titles, catalogue them, and then I'm done. So really it's quite important that this process runs smoothly. Both come with the options to add games manually or through a barcode scanner using your phone's camera. Gameye has the added option of the game cart scanner, and we'll take a look at that in a bit. So now let's run through my thoughts on these areas, starting with CLZ. CLZ's option to manually add games is very straightforward. You simply press the blue button in the lower right of the app and search the name of the title you're looking for. You can filter this search by console, and believe me, CLZ has a lot of consoles available to filter through. It has everything starting from the Atari 2600 right through to the ZX81, with shed loads in between, obviously including all your up-to-date consoles. CLZ is without a doubt very comprehensive. Once you've found the correct version of the game you want to add, simply press Add to Collection and you're done. So now let's take a look at the barcode scanner. I use this regularly and it's an essential area for me that the app needs to get right. I've currently catalogued over 350 games with absolute ease using this. I've only ever run into one issue that I'll explain in a minute. Once in the barcode scanner, you just focus your camera on the barcode and the app does its thing, including giving you a heads up if you've scanned a duplicate, and this is actually far more useful than you might first think. Adding multiple games at once means you just keep scanning one after another. These get added to the list below where you see the barcode, and once you've finished, you just hit Add to Collection. If for some reason a game isn't in CLZ's database, maybe such as it being a really rare title or a homebrew, then this can just be added manually. Once you've done scanning, it shows you the box arts of the games that you're about to add, and it's actually a really good indicator as to whether or not you're about to add the right version of the game. You're then able to customise certain details, such as whether it's loose, complete in box, or new and sealed. There's loads of options for customisations with titles on CLZ, and chances are you're not even going to make use of them all. For example, you can set up a list of previous owners. It's superb that it lets you go into this amount of detail, and it's an area where CLZ is definitely really strong in. Although I can't remember what I've spent on games I've had in my collection for years, so never bothered entering a purchase price for those, I definitely now log the prices I've paid for recent pickups, and include any interesting places I've bought them from. This gives some cool statistics that you can view in the app statistics tab. Yet another fun and interesting feature I find myself using all the time. It shows you things such as the top 5 most valuable games, recent additions, and the total value of your collection. The pie charts showing your completed to uncompleted game ratio is also neat. And obviously the more time you spend adding data to CLZ, the more you get from these statistics. I mentioned earlier that I run into an issue with a certain game I was trying to add, and that was a limited run title called Cthulhu Saves Christmas. Even though I was adding a PlayStation 5 copy and the box art confirmed it was for the PS5, it could only be found as listed for the Nintendo Switch, but with a PlayStation box image. Quite confusing really. This was regardless of if I added it manually or with the barcode scanner. Thankfully though, the issue was resolved quickly, maybe after a month or so, but annoyingly I had no way of knowing that it had actually been fixed until I randomly tried to re-add it. It'd be nice if there was a way of letting users know if a particular problem had been addressed or a change of information had been updated. While viewing information on individual games, the app provides quite an impressive amount to check out. I love the way CLZ often gives you quite in-depth descriptions and sometimes even an indication as to whether or not a certain game might actually be something you'd like to play. Maybe by explaining the aesthetics or gameplay style. It importantly shows you 3 prices here too, one for loose, one for complete in box and one for new. These prices are taken from pricecharting.com, and whilst pricecharting.com itself retrieves its information from past eBay sales and its own marketplace, I recommend only using these prices as a starting point for getting an idea of the overall value. Quite often, I find the prices can either be quite inflated or confusingly low, but it's a helpful addition nevertheless. Obviously, no prices can be given for homebrews. So ultimately, I feel cataloguing your games with CLZ to whatever level of detail you're prepared to go to is actually really simple, pain-free and quite enjoyable. So now let's take a look at the same process but with Gameye. So immediately after opening up the app, you'll notice you've been given 5 options: games, systems, peripherals, toys to life and print media. 4 of these options right here is what sets Gameye apart from CLZ, and in an extremely great way. Gameye gives you the ability to catalogue whole other areas of your gaming collection, such as consoles, controllers, amiibos, gaming guides, you name it. You're able to browse all of this by scrolling through extensive lists that you can search, filter through, or by scanning a collectible's barcode. CLZ does have an add hardware section, but it's nowhere near as good as Gameye, so this is definitely an area that's unique between the two apps. I think it's something that needs to seriously be considered as well if you're determined to choose between the two. Gameye provides a fantastic addition for those of us that focus on cataloguing whole other areas of the gaming collections. Regarding cataloguing your games manually, it works extremely similar to what we've previously seen with CLZ. You search the game and press the blue button in the bottom corner. Manually selecting games works fantastically. It gives you the ability to filter by console, manufacturer, actually it even allows you to select modern or retro as a filter, and I think that's quite cool. This whole area works brilliantly, but as it's likely the barcode scanner is how you're going to want to go about adding your games, let's see how Gameye performs doing this. So when you hit the barcode scanner option, you'll open up the phone's camera and see in the bottom right that you can be in single or batch mode. By being in batch mode, this allows you to scan game after game to help you save time, where when in single mode, it will let you scan your game's barcode, then immediately ask you to fill out the title's details. Gameye currently has an issue with scanning European PAL copies of games. To be fair, it acknowledges this in-app and states it's going to be vastly improved upon after the launching of Gameye.app. Out of 60 games that are tested, 15 were unable to be added by scanning the barcodes and meant needed to be searched for and added manually. Now this isn't a deal breaker, as the manual option works extremely well and in many cases can be found by searching the database this way. But it's definitely something I hope the developer gets sorted reasonably quickly because CLZ doesn't have this same issue. Now then we have Gameye's unique game cart scanner. I tested this out with a Game Boy Color cartridge of the Pokemon trading card game and was astonished at how well it worked. It's an incredible tool to have built in. However, I wasn't able to add my Mega Drive copy of Indiana Jones as it only allows for the Genesis at the moment, and also my PAL copy of Yoshi's Island had some issues too. I think it's all part of the same problem that the barcode scanner has with acknowledging PAL games, so fingers crossed for the future regarding EU versions, as when it does work, like it did for Pokemon, it really did leave me kind of amazed. If for some reason a game just simply cannot be found within Gameye's database, regardless of which route you've taken to find it, it directs you out of the app and takes you to the gamesbd.net, where you can fill out the information on a missing title. Now once completed, it actually gets added to the app pretty quickly. It's just a shame you're not able to add homebrews. There's a lot of people that enjoy owning these and feel they deserve to be catalogued. Now another nice addition would be if the user was notified if trying to add a duplicate game they've already got. Now there's a small blue cross that appears next to the games when manually viewing in lists, but a warning message as well could realistically prevent us from making an unnecessary purchase when we're rushing about trying to quickly snap up a bargain or something. After adding a game or games, you're then required to log the owned components, such as a manual or box, and then enter a star rating to keep track of how you feel it's graded. There's also the ability to add any personal notes too. Gameye has the added option of cataloguing your digital games by checking the Is Digital Copy tab. Now this is a huge benefit over CLZ, as Gameye is the only one of the two that lets you do this, and honestly it's something you need to be aware of if you plan on cataloguing digital games. This screen, like CLZ, gives you the values and also includes the prices of what the box and manual have sold for. This information is also directly taken from pricecharting.com. You can add more details by heading back into the game after the initial setup and filling out any additional stuff, such as the game's completion percentage. I actually think this is another great feature that sets Gameye apart, and it can help make the information you store feel more personalised. Overall though, I don't think it quite has the same depth as CLZ with how much you can personalise each game, but I get that this in some cases could actually be looked at as a positive thing. CLZ allows you to sync all of your data to its own cloud. This not only means that your collection is safe in case something unfortunate was to happen, but also means that you can share your collection with friends quite easily and also between devices, including the CLZ desktop version, which at the minute is something totally unique to CLZ. However, I do know Gameye is looking to launch its own desktop program sometime soon. Data needs to be regularly backed up when using Gameye at the minute by exporting your information to a spreadsheet or creating a restore point that you can make by emailing yourself and using the link it sends as an attachment. It's an okay alternative to a cloud system, and it does regularly remind you to keep your collection backed up, but I think I'd sooner still rather have a cloud save. Gameye is a totally free app. There's no hidden charges, and so you can enjoy everything it has to offer for totally nothing. CLZ, on the other hand, charges a small subscription to unlock its features, and this I get may be a deal breaker for a lot of people. It costs £12.99 a year or £1.29 per month. For me, I believe it's worth it for the cloud saves alone, but I also believe that as it charges its users, it's more likely to be kept updated and regularly maintained. Now that's not to say that Gameye won't do these things, it's just that with a subscription, it should, in theory, allow for more regular developments and updates. For those that are not prepared to pay for cataloguing your game collection or simply don't like the feel of CLZ, you can rest assured that Gameye is an absolutely fantastic service that exceeds my expectations. If cataloguing amiibos, gaming guides, etc. is your thing, then it's likely Gameye is the option you should go for. It's something that CLZ doesn't offer. The future releases page that Gameye has is also a really neat feature that I find myself scrolling through regularly and tapping on add to wish list to remind myself of those release dates. With that being said, CLZ is still my first choice though. I'm happy to pay the subscription and like having the peace of mind knowing my data is saved on a cloud server. The app's barcode scanner is also far superior for European and UK PAL releases, which was something I found was important the app needed to get right for me. Its level of detail is something I'm really pleased to work with and actually just prefer the overall feel of the app. That being said, I wholeheartedly respect Gameye for offering a totally free service, and I'll be keeping a close eye on its updates. The way in which you can search through a large encyclopedia of games, consoles, merchandise, peripherals, etc., plus also cataloguing digital games, makes it an absolutely fantastic option that I may very well one day find myself moving over to, especially when the European and PAL issue gets resolved. I have total respect for the developer. So thank you very much for watching, stay safe and happy video game collecting.